Hi, everyone. Andrew with Boxing Circle here. Today, I'm connecting with you from San Diego, California, and I am so excited to announce that the Boxing Circle, we have a new segment coming out that I'm calling In Your Corner, where I will be interviewing and chatting with experts in the field in the boxing community who are supporting our fighters, our coaches, and really the community as a whole. And we're going to start that off with that very first iteration of this segment with Sarah Cunningham out of Detroit, Michigan. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go into all your accolades here in just a second, Sarah, because they all need to be worth noting, but just welcome. I'm so, so excited that you're here today.
No, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good, good, good. So what does Sarah do and where is she an expert? Okay, let me tell you, I will say I am going to read some of these because there's a long list and I want to make sure she gets all of her accolades. But very first question is, I did not know you were a pro boxer yourself, Sarah. How long have you been boxing?
So I started boxing back in probably 20, like 14, 15.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I started doing amateur boxing in 2020 or well, started sparring in 2020. And then afterwards, about 2023 is when I made my amateur debut.
Uh-huh.
But that's when I realized I was already doing nutrition at that point. But I realized what was going on with nutrition and with weight cuts in
Yeah.
the competition realm. And to me, that was like my eye-opening spot of like, I need to get in here and get some education going because what we are doing is not beneficial to our health and our wellness. So,
Oh, wow. Amazing. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, so cool. So, I mean, I know, let's go into your accolades here. You also have over 22 years experience as a critical care nurse. My mom is a retired ER nurse. My two of my best friends are nurses. I'm always surrounded by nurses. So just I want to personally say thank you. I think nurses are the best. So thank you so much for helping us keep stay safe on that realm as well. And then on top of that, you are a sports nutritionist and you specialize, and I think this is so cool. You specialize in combat sports nutrition, weight management, which we're going to talk about, and you gave a little hint
yeah.
on here just a moment ago, fighter safety, also things like fight week fueling and hydration, proper hydration. I do see your stories often about chugs before mugs. We'll talk about that here in a second too. And then on top of that, you're a personal trainer. And then I need to go into these notable accolades here. And you are one very busy woman. So thank you so much for all that you do. But on top of that, I tied with the WBC University as a nutrition expert and
Mhm.
fighter safety advocate.
Yes.
Okay. And then on top of that, you're a co-lead for the Fighter Advocacy Committee with the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, which I want to talk about that if you're open to talking about that here in just a
Yeah.
little bit as well. And then on top of that, if I wasn't done before, you do work with Golden Gloves champions, world title holders, professional and amateur boxers, and also Muay Thai fighters as well. Is that correct? Did I get
Yes.
everything?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got everything. Okay.
I know
Okay.
fighter safety is definitely top of my list here. So everything I do is, especially being a nurse in health and wellness, is making sure that we are safe not only inside the ring but outside the ring as well.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm all about too. And it's interesting. I'm sensing a theme when I talk with different fighters and coaches. I've got, I think about over 40 community spotlights so far, but fighter safety does come up quite a bit. So you being able to divulge and give us a little bit of a, you know, kind of behind the scenes look and from an expert point of view, I think would be really, really helpful. And that's why we're doing this whole segment, is I want you to be able to help us
Right.
and get that information out there.
Well, especially with brain injuries, I think in 2025 we had almost triple the brain injuries that we had in the year prior, and we had as many in 2025 that we had in the past 3 years total. So we
Wow.
really focusing in on what we can do to change and where is this coming from and how we can make this a safer sport. Because we're not saying don't do it. I mean, I do it.
Hmm.
I'm not saying don't do
Yeah.
it because we like it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we can do this in a better fashion in order to protect us as well.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. We're not saying don't do it. I
Right.
box, I've been boxing for over 10 years. It's all about just being safe. I am a big believer that boxing saves lives in more ways than one. That said, it is a very dangerous sport. And so we're walking that fine line where, yes, it's going to help you and save you if that's, you know, the route that you're on. But also, we need to make sure we do it in a safe manner
Right.
because it is a very dangerous sport.
Right. And I think that's where education needs to be at the forefront. So not only with our fighter education, but like trainers and gyms and things like that too, we all need to be aware of what to look for and what things that can do in order to better ourselves. Because it's not just about like, oh, you have low energy today, you can push through it. It's like,
Hmm.
no, maybe we need to stop and hydrate and like we'll do it tomorrow. And it's okay to step back and it's okay to say like, you know what, I'm not feeling it today.
Okay, I like this. I like this. That's very different than what we often see because people are just like disciplined and pushing through no matter what.
Mental toughness, right?
Yeah, that mental toughness. Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into this. So let's say a fighter is coming to you and they do have that low energy. And, you know, what are some of the things in the signs that you're looking for first and foremost when you're chatting with them?
Yeah, so first and foremost is like what are you taking in on a
Hmm.
daily basis and what is your training level, right? Because
Hmm.
we can't cut our calories lower than our training. And
Okay.
when we do that, then we have what we call low energy availability, right? So our energy
Hmm.
is going to be low because we don't have gas in our tank. But
Right.
when we have low energy availability over a period of time, our body is uh, set as survival mode, right? Our body does anything it can do to survive, which
Hmm.
means that it adapts. So
Right.
when it adapts, then we're doing things like making our metabolism slower and we're slowing things down. We are decreasing our immune system. We're
Hmm.
increasing our risk of injury. We're decreasing our bone density. Our,
Hmm.
hormones are dysregulated. So it's not always something we can see or feel right away. It's
Right.
not an easy fix.
Hmm.
So that is something that I need to know is like, what are you intaking? So that's a good point to where I tell most of my fighters where to start is start
Hmm.
tracking your food.
Yes.
Not only
Yes.
to like, yeah, it's eye-opening and it's really educational on like where are your calories coming from?
Right.
Like you might be eating 5,000 calories, but if you're eating like half your calories in fat rather than carbohydrates, then you're not going to have energy. So
Right.
where those calories come from count. So that is my first and foremost is like, what are we taking in and where is our energy going?
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. And that actually is a great job, like jumping off point into just around the misconceptions about nutrition management. You had highlighted something there in terms of a word that a lot of people think is pretty scary, but it's necessary is carbohydrates. Can you, do you mind like divulging and just sharing with us, like, what are some of the common misconceptions fighters make about nutrition management?
Yeah, so the biggest misconception I see with nutrition is that it is a weight cut. And we
Okay.
wait to camp, and all we want to do is hit that number on a scale.
Yep.
And nutrition is not just a weight cut. Yes, it can help us with weight management and body composition, but
Hmm.
the ultimate point of sports nutrition is to improve your performance,
Okay.
right? So
Yep.
that is the main thing too. And it's not a quick fix. Everybody's like, can I just have
Right.
a meal plan? Can I just, what supplement can I take? And I'm like, is your body, like I said, your body adapts, right? But it
It does.
takes slow. It's slow. It's a slow process. So it's not going to be a quick fix either. And that's the part of the thing with we can't wait till camp because
Hmm.
we're going to try and put all these new things in our body and like try to do different habits. And our body might not have enough time to adjust.
Right.
And that's, getting rid of the good foods and bad foods. That's another, common thing is like, well, I ate this and it's good. I'm like, well, what is good? Good is relative, you know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and it's not about restrictions either. And you said like carbs. We have a lot of
Hmm.
fighters have a fear of carbs. Carbs hold on water.
Hmm.
So 1 gram of carbs is 3 grams of water. So when we have that extra water weight and the scale goes up, our mind is starting to freak out a little bit. We
Right.
get uncomfortable and we
Yeah.
have to be comfortable with getting in more carbohydrates because
Hmm.
when we have that energy, then we're actually pushing harder in training and you are
Hmm.
actually doing your body like more and you're improving your performance rather than just focused on that number on the scale.
Right.
So yeah, it's about, not restricting. Um, in I think a lot of times when we get in those restrictive modes during camp,
Hmm.
that's when we see the post-fight binge.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes. And then that's how you see when fighters like their weight gain, they're fine during camp, and then they restrict themselves so much that after camp, then their hunger hormone spikes, ghrelin, so that goes up. Then their fullness hormone, like the satiety, which is leptin, that tanks. So then they're just out of control because they're over responding to this food response.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this
So
is fascinating.
so if we can increase and like get in those foods that we love in camp, it doesn't just have to be chicken and rice, you know. And it's like say, oh, I eat all these chicken and rice, and I'm like, well, that's bad because your iron level is going to drop, and you're not
Yeah.
getting micronutrients you
Yeah.
need. So we have to be flexible and we have to incorporate different foods in order to get everything that we need as well. And not only that, food is enjoyment; it's life,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
right. So we have to be able to enjoy foods and not just be so restricted that we are going to be out of control once the camp ends and your fight ends.
Right. Yeah. That actually, one, this is so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just absolutely find it fascinating just how the smallest tweaks and, our bodies need to adjust, that sort of thing. Can you kind of highlight here? Because I'm thinking about what are some of the dangers, like physical, maybe also mental dangers when you know, cutting weight, when a fighter's cutting weight incorrectly. And I'm not a big fan of using the word incorrectly, but in a mode that's not guided in a safe and healthy manner.
Right. No, there are a lot of dangers with n not cutting correctly as well, right?
Mhm.
So you're talking about one of the things that I see a lot of people do is just dehydrate.
Oh boy. Okay.
So that is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Because when we dehydrate, yes, we dehydrate our blood volume and we're going to increase our heart rate. We're going to decrease our thermal regulation, so our body's not going to adapt to heat as well. So there's a lot of
Right.
things physically that we're doing. But not only that, you have a protective shell around between your brain and your skull called the
Hmm.
spinal fluid. It's like a little airbag that protects our brain. But
Yeah.
when you dehydrate, you also dehydrate that fluid as well. And
Oh,
so every
gotcha.
time that we are taking repeated hits and head trauma, which we do,
Yes, we do.
that is causing more damage to our brain, higher risk of concussions and CTEs and brain injuries as well. So that is partially that we need to be hydrated not only for our fight, but during camp. Because when
Yes.
we're hydrating and if people are wearing the sauna suits in camp, which drives me crazy, and then hard sparring, we're taking more injuries potentially during camp than we are actually during our fight.
Oh, this is mind blowing for me, and no pun intended. No pun intended.
Right,
But I'm just
right.
thinking of how it's all kind of circular. Like,
Yeah,
if you're dehydrating, you're more likely to have these injuries. But then if you were hydrated, it's
it is.
fascinating.
It is.
Can you, and I keep thinking because I see this all the time on your socials, can you highlight and kind of tell us? I have two quick questions here. As I sip a cup of coffee, you've
Yes.
already said, "Hey, coffee's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to dehydrate you the way that has been
That's like
told."
old myth that's been debunked.
Yes, yes. So heard it here first, everyone. It is
Yes.
a myth that has been debunked.
Cheers.
Coffee's fine. Yes. Okay, great. Coffee
I was like,
is
here we go.
fine. It's not going to dehydrate you the way that you think it is.
No.
Now, there is something you do that I see I multiple times a week, and I believe it's called chugs before mugs. Can you
Yes.
highlight a little bit what you're doing with this? Because this is so amazing, and I see it's implanted in you planted that seed in me. And so now I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling better. And it's just a small
Yeah.
shift. But do you mind kind
It
of
is.
divulging
So
there?
chugs before mugs, that's, starting with your hydration, right? And
Hmm.
we don't drink all night, so we need a little bit more. If we are
Hmm.
sipping on coffee all day, like we're not taking in a lot. We are sipping on coffee. So
Right.
it is just getting in there like throughout the day a little bit. But when we actually get in some water first, it actually hydrates our brain and it helps us
Hmm.
think a little better. And it also
Hmm.
helps boost our metabolism a little bit sometimes in the morning. So getting that in also just helps your water goal. A lot of us are pretty decent getting in water with our training, but
Sure.
that just helps to wake us up. And that'll actually wake you up a little bit more than caffeine. Plus, we're not all
Okay.
caffeine responders, right?
Right.
And that's the thing
Right.
with coffee, like there's nothing wrong with coffee, just sometimes the amount of caffeine
Hmm.
can increase. And if you're adding things into your coffee, then that could be extra calories where you can get
Right.
it somewhere else that's not going to be as filling. But yeah, no, drink your water first. Because if you are thirsty, you're already 2% dehydrated. And that 2,
Okay.
yeah, that 2% of dehydration is a 5% loss of cognitive function.
Wow. Okay.
I love that fact.
Okay.
Because
I
I'm
love
thinking
that
like
fact
if,
too.
yeah,
Well,
if you're,
okay. Okay. Give me 1 second here. So,
yeah,
okay, 2% dehydration is actually a 5% reduction in cognitive. Is it?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, cognitive function.
Cognitive function. Cognitive function, let me just kind of divulge here a little bit, is, and then I'm going off on a side road here, is a really big personal matter, not only to myself, but my family. I
Right.
have Alzheimer's runs like strongly on my maternal side.
Okay.
And so my whole family is aware of that. And so we adopt different behaviors and create different habits to help us
Right.
in terms of that, because it is actually, I mean, I can count 4 or 5 people on my mom's side that
Yeah.
had Alzheimer's. So it's very strong there. So we do a lot of things as a family to help, hopefully push that off
Right.
or prevent it is really the ultimate goal. So what I'm understanding here is if I go and I drink my water before I make my coffee, it's one, I've been sleeping all night. Hopefully I got 8 hours sleep,
Right.
ideally.
Yes. Sleep is
But I
important.
wasn't, yeah, but I wasn't hydrated in the middle of the night. So I get up, it's not only going to hydrate me, but it's also going to most likely wake me up more than coffee. I will feel better throughout the day. And then also on top of that, I can ward off that 2% or get a jump start on warding
Yeah.
off that 2% dehydration.
Absolutely. A simple
Okay.
thing. Chugs before.
So hugs before mugs. I'm full in, and I hope you have that as a hashtag or something because I could see that being a movement. And it's so simple, but just that 2% to 5%. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's
you're
that,
welcome.
yeah,
Yeah.
really,
Like I said,
really cool.
a lot of athletes are great on their water and they carry
Hmm.
around big water jugs and they're
They do.
all right. But it's like it starts at the beginning of the day and just getting that jump start and trickling it throughout the day and then pairing that with your electrolytes when you need it, when you have sweat, that just ups that as well.
Okay. Okay. I like this. And I do want to get into, we were talking about cognitive function. I want to save a really good space here in our conversation to talk about the Ring of Brotherhood here in a moment. So I'm going to get to that here in a moment. That's also just extremely important. So I want to make sure we have time for that. But I did have a couple more quick questions I wanted to ask you, just around as an expert. I mean, you're all over Detroit, you're all over Michigan. I see it, and you have this wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. Um, do you end up approaching nutrition differently for amateur fighters versus pros? And then also, what about, does age or gender come into play when you make these recommendations?
So yes and no.
Okay, okay, I
Um,
love this.
right? So amateurs and pros, like fueling is typically the same, right?
Yes.
But weight cutting is absolutely not. And I see a lot of amateurs, especially with social media, they look up to the pros and they want to cut weight like the pros, but
Hmm.
they they can't do that.
Yeah.
It's actually like almost like a different sport, right?
Hmm.
Amateurs are fighting for the opportunity and learning experience and not really technically a record
Hmm.
per se. And they're
Right.
fighting more often, right?
Right.
So just like we said with the dehydration and protecting our brain, we can't be cutting weight the same way as the pros do.
Okay.
Amateurs can have maybe 1 to 4 hours as like a minimum time to from weigh in until their fight. That is not enough time to rehydrate that cerebral spinal fluid or that protection around your brain. That takes 24 hours sometimes to fully rehydrate, depending on how dehydrated you are. So
Okay.
I've had this conversation with a lot of amateurs where they call me and they're like, "Hey, I want to fight next week at like I'm 140 now and I want to fight at 135." And then the week later I want to fight at 120. And I was like, I will not help you.
Yeah. No, that's too dangerous.
And then you have on top of that, you have growing athletes, and these are usually, start from a younger age. So
Hmm.
we are introducing food restrictions, disordered eating on top of it.
Yeah.
And their body is growing. They
Yeah.
need more calories on top of like
Hmm.
what the average like adult does because
Hmm.
we're not really typically growing, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
and our hormones are different, like all that is different as well. So no, amateurs should not be doing the same as pros in terms of weight cutting and making weight. And you have to
Hmm.
realize too, like we are all growing and we are training, so we are all
Hmm.
probably hopefully gaining muscle,
Yeah.
right? And if we don't have fat to lose and we are gaining muscle, we might add more on the scale. But if
Hmm.
we don't have fat to lose, then it's going to take us out of our weight class because we shouldn't be dehydrating in order to make that
Right.
weight scale. So our weight class might change, especially as amateurs, right? When
Hmm.
we are growing and our body is physically changing. So
Yeah.
that is something to all take into account as well. So no, amateurs should not be the same as pros in terms of making weight.
Hmm.
In terms of fueling, yes,
Okay.
that's pretty much the same. And that goes in terms of gender as well. There
Okay.
is no difference really in gender. Now, females do have some different hormone fluctuations,
Hmm.
and do retain water at certain points, and it's different for every individual.
Hmm.
I'm talking about the relative energy deficiency syndrome and REDS, you
Hmm.
will see that in a female athlete as amenorrhea or loss of their menstrual cycle.
Okay.
As men don't have that to see, so they
Hmm.
but they can still get that syndrome as well. Just because their gender doesn't mean that they are removed from that.
Got
Uh,
it.
but in terms of like weight cutting when you're a female and your cycle, that can be a little bit different in terms of water retention, but it doesn't mean that
Hmm.
we have anything different in terms of fueling.
Okay. Okay. There we go. So
Yeah.
there is those hormone fluctuations, but in terms of
Right.
fueling, not a
It's
difference there.
Nope.
And then also that was crucial what you were mentioning about the amateurs versus the pros because their bodies, it tends to be younger
Right.
fighters and their bodies are growing. And then also, you're right, they trying to make that weight and
Right. And if you have a tournament, you're weighing in multiple days in a row.
Mhm.
So if you make weight on day one and then you get in your carbohydrates and you fuel and you rehydrate for your fight, and day two, you have to go backwards to make that weight again. All that rapid weight loss and rapid weight regain is just causing tons of havoc on like your metabolism and your hormones and your whole body. And not only mentally, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of stress on our body and our mind.
absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we need to streamline on how we, do this whole
Yeah.
making weight. And I mean, that's opened a whole can of worms.
Yes.
But it's also one I've actually heard throughout the community spotlights as well. Is
Yeah.
actually I've heard quite a few fighters saying, "Hey, can we streamline this?" You know, so there is
Yeah.
for an area of improvement there.
Yeah. And I wish it would be an easy answer and like, hey,
Right.
just do this and you'll make weight, but it's really a lifestyle. And
Hmm.
it starts from like after your last fight all the way through. There's no stopping point. And
Right.
but when we take away that restriction and that app to like want to binge after and
Hmm.
incorporate those foods that we like during camp and
Hmm.
find that happy medium, then you're not really apt to do
I
that
would
as
love
much.
to.
Right.
This is really, really good, and I want to marinate on it. And also, everyone should be marinating on this. but I do want to take a second and pivot just a little bit. I want to talk about uh, you are the co-lead for the Fighter Advocacy Committee with the Ring of Brotherhood. Can we
Right.
talk a little bit about Ring of Brotherhood here?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay, okay. Can you just, for those that don't know, uh, give us the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, give us a little bit of highlight?
Yeah, so the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation is formed by Lisa McClellan, who is Gerald McClellan's
Mhm,
sister. Gerald McClellan did suffer a brain injury from boxing, and she
mhm.
takes care of him on a daily basis. So this foundation is in terms of protecting fighters, not only in the ring, but outside the ring as well. So fighter safety and hydration and protecting our brain is number one.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And she had reached out, she interacted with one of the community spotlights, and I've been following the Ring of Brotherhood, Foundation for a bit of time, and I'm so glad that she started that. And just it's so important
Yeah.
and what you're looking to achieve with that. So I just wanted to make sure that I give that its own moment because it's so crucial, it's so important, and our fighters give their life, their bodies, their life there. It's a spiritual experience for most fighters. It's everything. And so we need to make sure that we protect them in and out of the ring before, during, and after the process. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
improvements that we can make.
Right. Yeah, and we're working on a bunch of education and things that are coming out soon, hopefully. So it's pretty exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once that's out, please let me know. I would love to help share that information and get it into as many fighters' hands as possible.
Yeah. And I do have flyers too, if anybody wants any for their gym that I can send to them and they
Great.
can laminate and post up about hydration. A lot of gyms around the area here have them in their bathrooms and things like that. So when fighters actually do go to the bathroom, then they can actually check their urine color and see what they need to do in order to adjust their hydration.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
Mhm.
I work, I'm here in San Diego. I do go up to Detroit, several times a year, but I'll definitely be letting you know because I work with a lot of gyms down here and that's important for them to be aware of
Absolutely.
as well. As
Yeah.
well. Thank you so much. Okay. So my last question for you, Sarah, and then I want to make sure we get all the information of where folks can reach you. If a fighter should take away at least one thing from this conversation, what would it be? I want them to absorb everything, but
Yes. I was like, oh, I would say if a fighter could take away one thing, it would be that nutrition is not just a weight cut.
okay.
It is about their health and wellness, but more importantly, it's about their performance. And if
Okay.
you have somebody that has, all the talent in the world, but they don't focus on their nutrition, then their performance is going to stay here. And if you are focusing on your nutrition and everything else behind it, then you can actually surpass that person who has the talent.
I love it. Okay. There's the secret to the sauce. I
It
love that.
is.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. Fighters, please, please. I'm going to highlight that because that's key. Like, hey, this you might be able to
Right?
surpass, or
Yeah,
you can surpass.
it's not
Yeah.
just about that number on the scale. So
Love it. Oh,
that's not our fight.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for your valuable time, sharing your knowledge, your absolute wealth of knowledge. You are a powerhouse in the community, and it's just been an absolute honor to have you today and chat with you and be able to share all this information. I would love to have you back on because I can talk to you all day
Absolutely.
about all of this.
Yes. I know this is just like tip of the iceberg, but yes,
It
I
really is.
love
It
to
really
share.
is.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to, if you're open to it in the future, have you back on. Where can people find you? And I'm going to put it in the show notes.
Yeah. So Instagram, I am mf.nuts. So that's
Hmm.
Macros Fighting Nutrition. A little play on
Love
words.
it.
But yeah, MS Nuts on nutrition on Instagram, and there is my bio is also my phone number and my email address as well.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Any last words, any last tidbits that you want to share?
You know what? Fuel hard and fight strong.
I love it. Oh, well, thank you again. I'm going to be in touch, especially I'm going to get those flyers and I'm going to I have so much I want to like marinate on with all of this and have you back on. And again, thank you for your time today. It has been an absolute pleasure.
I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.